Fire does not belong at sea. On the open ocean, surrounded by endless water, the idea of flames feels impossible. And yet, throughout modern maritime history, fire has proven to be one of the most terrifying and deadly forces a ship can face. This is the story of the worst cruise ship fires ever recorded. Moments when floating cities turned into infernos, when luxury dissolved into smoke, and when thousands of lives balanced on the edge between survival and catastrophe. These are not legends, these are real events, carved into history by heat, panic, and human decisions made in seconds that would echo for lifetimes. The night often begins peacefully. Calm seas, soft music drifting through corridors, passengers laughing in lounges, unaware that somewhere deep inside the ship, beyond the polished wood and soft lighting, danger is quietly growing. Cruise ships are marvels of engineering, vast networks of electrical systems, fuel lines, kitchens, engines, and ventilation shafts. When fire ignites in such a place, it does not simply burn, it spreads. It hunts for oxygen, racing through hidden corridors, climbing decks through shafts never meant to carry flames. And when it does, escape becomes a race against smoke, darkness, and fear. One of the chilling cruise ship fires in history erupted without warning. It began as a mechanical failure, a spark where none should exist. Within minutes, thick black smoke poured through passageways. Emergency alarms screamed into the night. Lights flickered, then vanished, plunging the ship into darkness lit only by the red glow of emergency beacons and the violent orange pulse of fire behind sealed doors. Passengers woke choking, disoriented, unsure if the ship was sinking or burning or both. The air grew hot, breathing became painful. Panic spread faster than the flames themselves. Crew members rushed into smoke-filled corridors, their training colliding with chaos. Some knocked on cabin doors, shouting for passengers to evacuate. Others fought the fire directly, dragging heavy hoses through narrow passageways, heat pressing against their faces, visibility reduced to nothing. Fire at sea is different from fire on land. There is no fire department waiting down the street. There is no easy escape. There is only the ship, the ocean, and the people trapped between them. In another disaster, flames broke out deep within the engine room. The ship lost power almost instantly. Air conditioning stopped. Elevators froze between decks. Without ventilation, smoke thickened rapidly, filling cabins where families huddled together, pressing towels to their faces, whispering prayers in the dark. Children cried as parents tried to remain calm, lying to them softly, promising that help was coming. Outside, the ocean was calm, indifferent, reflecting moonlight as though nothing was wrong. As the fire raged, the heat warped metal, alarms failed, communication systems went silent. Crew members resorted to shouting instructions, guiding passengers by touch through pitch-black hallways. Some slipped, fell, crawled. Others became separated from loved ones, voices lost in the confusion. In these moments, time stretched and collapsed all at once. Seconds felt like hours. Every breath tasted of smoke and fear. There have been fires sparked by kitchens, by fuel leaks, by electrical overloads, by human negligence. In one infamous case, a simple galley fire spread upward through ventilation systems, transforming the ship into a chimney. Smoke rose deck by deck, turning escape routes into death traps. Lifeboats became difficult to access. Some passengers wrapped themselves in blankets and waited, hoping the fire would be contained before it reached them. Others fled to open decks, gasping for clean air, staring out at the black water below, realizing that jumping into the sea might soon become their only option. Fire drills suddenly mattered, training mattered, decisions mattered. In disasters where crews acted swiftly, lives were saved. In those where confusion reigned, the cost was devastating. Delayed evacuations trapped people below. Misinformation kept passengers in their cabins while smoke spread. Every wrong call multiplied the danger. Fire does not forgive hesitation. Survivors described the sound of fire as something alive, the roar of it consuming walls, the crack of collapsing ceilings, the hiss of suppression systems fighting a losing battle. They remember the heat pressing through steel floors, the walls too hot to touch, the taste of ash coating their tongues. They remember holding strangers' hands, united by fear, moving together because moving alone felt impossible. In one of the deadliest cruise ship fires, evacuation came too late for many. Smoke overtook sleeping passengers before alarms reached them. Cabins became traps, hallways filled with toxic fumes. By morning, the ship was scarred, blackened, floating, but forever changed. Lives were lost not to the sea, but to fire, the one enemy no ship ever truly outruns. And yet, amid the horror, there were moments of extraordinary courage. Crew members who re-entered burning decks to guide passengers out. Engineers who stayed behind to shut down systems, slowing the spread, knowing the risk. Passengers who carried the elderly, who shielded children, who shared air, shared strength, shared hope when there was very little of it left. In these moments, humanity burned brighter than the flames. The aftermath of these fires was measured not just in damage, but in trauma. Survivors carried nightmares of smoke-filled corridors and screaming alarms. Investigations followed, safety regulations changed, fire suppression systems were upgraded, training intensified, new rules were written in the ashes of old mistakes. But no regulation could erase the memories of those nights, when luxury turned into survival, when vacations turned into battles against suffocation and fear. Fire at sea leaves no visible wreck resting on the ocean floor. The ships often survive, repaired, repainted, returned to service, but the invisible damage remains. The fear of smoke, the sound of alarms, the knowledge that even surrounded by water, fire can still find you, that safety is never absolute, that vigilance is the price of survival. These stories remind us that the ocean is not the only threat, that the greatest dangers often come from within, from systems pushed too far, from corners cut, from moments when comfort breeds complacency. A cruise ship fire is not just an accident, it is a test of preparation, leadership, and humanity under pressure. Fire does not care about wealth, tickets, or destinations. It moves with hunger, fueled by oxygen and opportunity. And when it strikes at sea, it strips away illusions, leaving only choices: run or help, panic or lead, freeze or act. In the glow of flames reflected on black water, those choices define who lives, who survives, and who is remembered. The worst cruise ship fires ever recorded are not just disasters, they are warnings written in smoke. They tell us that even in the most controlled environments, chaos waits patiently, that safety is never guaranteed, that the line between calm and catastrophe is thinner than steel, and that at sea, surrounded by endless water, fire remains one of the most terrifying forces a ship can face. If you want more true maritime disasters, untold stories of survival, and cinematic retellings of real-life tragedies at sea, subscribe to Ocean Disaster Films. Another story is coming soon, ready to remind us that the ocean does not need storms to be deadly, and that sometimes the most dangerous enemy on a ship is the one that burns from within.